Is the Mimic evil or just broken? Because in Five Nights at Freddy's Secret of the Mimic, the main enemy of the game is the Mimic, also known as M2, which is a robot built by Edwin to act as his son after the tragic passing of David. But is the Mimic actually evil or just misguided? And that's what I want to talk about today, with the question, is the Mimic evil or just broken? Now, there is a difference to a villain being purely evil and one who is just broken. The difference is one is just evil. It's as simple as that. They are evil for the fun of it and it's just who they are. But if a villain is broken, it means they do what they do because of past events in their life, like trauma. An example of a pure evil villain is like Jack Horner, someone who grew up with everything and yet are still evil. An example of a villain who is broken is Tai Lung. From a young age, he was promised greatness from his master and trained his whole life on a promise, only for it to be denied to him right at the end, and this is what led him down that path. He only wants what he feels is his. And also Doofenshmirtz from Phineas and Ferb fits this as well. Like, his own mother didn't even show up to his birth. Like, I don't blame him for doing what he does. But now we know the difference between a pure villain and a broken one. Let's see how the Mimic fits into these categories. The Mimic was made from tragedy, the death of Edwin's son David, which already isn't a good start because Edwin already lost his real wife and now his real son. So you can imagine how unstable Edwin already is, and with M2 basically being a metal replica of David, this eventually got to Edwin with him constantly telling M2 that you are not him, and eventually it gets to Edwin so much that he gets physically violent towards M2, which the Mimic picks up on and eventually starts mimicking, which we can see throughout the game with all the chases and all the dead bodies around the factory. However, the worst thing M2 did was let Edwin die. After an accident, Edwin needed help, but instead of helping, M2 just mocked him with his voice and left him to die, fully becoming a villain. Now, this means we can come to the very obvious conclusion that the Mimic isn't actually evil, it is just broken. The Mimic came into this world from tragedy by a broken man who had basically lost everything and couldn't handle it, eventually lashing out. And we can see in-game that the Mimic wasn't made to be evil, because in the secret ending, we reboot the Mimic, fixing him and turning him back into David and showing what the Mimic was supposed to be like before all the abuse that turned him into a monster. And with that said, I hope you have all enjoyed, and I'll catch you all in the next one. See ya!